You think you do, but you don't. While J. Allen Brack had to eat those words with the success of Classic WoW, if J. Allen Brack had said those words to me during the last few hours of me going through A Realm Reborn, he would have been absolutely right. And this video is going to have spoilers about A Realm Reborn, so if you don't want those, I would skip this video. And so basically, towards the end of A Realm Reborn, Gaius asks Cid Garlemald if he would come back and join the Empire. And at that moment, I really wanted Cid to join the Empire.
I want you at my side, Sid. Take up your father's mantle and become the Emperor's. Oh, no one saw that coming. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's something you'd expect him to say. My father had a change of heart. He says so yourself. Besides, I have long known my destiny, and I assure you, it lies not with the Empire. Bro, I kind of want Sid to join the Empire. I feel like that'd be like a pretty good story point.
And it's not because I like the Garlean Empire. The reason why I wanted Cid to join the Empire is because I am so sick of having happy endings. We're all adults on this channel. I know that because I have access to my analytics, and only 0.1% of people who watch these videos is under the age of 18. And so we all know that life sometimes doesn't have a happy ending, that tragedies happen and that they exist in the real world. And only in fairy tales and myths is the ending always a happy one. And, you know, growing up, all of the stories, all of the fairy tales, all the myths that have been, you know, told to me always had happy endings. And, you know, now that I'm a bit older, I realize that what that can do is that can skew your perception to think that as long as, you know, you do the right and noble thing, that you're going to have a happy ending. And I wanted a bit more perspective, and I wanted a bit more of a complete approach to storytelling. And, you know, I haven't really been introduced to as many tragedies. And even if you look at Star Wars, which is really analogous to the situation with Sid Garlemald and Gaius Van Balzar, with Darth Vader and Luke, even Star Wars ended happy, and ultimately Darth Vader ended up, you know, having his redemption arc and coming back. And, you know, everyone lived happily ever after. And I didn't want it. In that moment in time, I didn't want it. And so, you know, I was going through the campaign, and we had the crescendo in A Realm Reborn, and with the 6.1 patches, everything was a lot more modernized and updated, and I had a lot of fun doing it, and the music was really good. And then we get to the very, very end with La Habrea, who is possessing Thancred's body. And we beat his ass, of course, and I see Thancred lying there on the floor. And immediately, all of my thoughts about tragedies and myths and endings and happy endings just got yeeted out of my brain. And in that moment in time, all I wanted was to see Thancred alive.
Thancred's not dead. He's good. He's good, guys. He's fine. Yeah, he's fine.
Because Thancred did nothing wrong. He was possessed against his own will, at least it appears to be against his own will to me right now at this point in the story, by La Habrea, and he doesn't deserve to die because he was possessed by someone who is actually evil. And so I thought I did. I thought I wanted a tragedy, until I saw Thancred on the ground, and then I realized, no, I don't want a tragedy. Please be a happy ending. Please be a happy ending. And, you know, I was being debated in Twitch chat. They were like, he's dead, he's dead. I'm like, no, he's not. No, he's not. And thank goodness I was right, because, you know, after the credits and we had the cutscene afterwards, Thancred makes his appearance, and Thancred is alive. And so that was so good to see. And so then we had, you know, this like huge crescendo in A Realm Reborn all the way past patch 2.0, and then 2.1 starts the next day. You know, I end stream on a high note. I'm tearing up a little bit.
Oh, the music is so good. What a game, guys. Why is it that this game has been out since, like, what? ARR came out in 2013 or 2014? And it took us Asmongold to stream the game for us all to start playing this from World of Warcraft. Like, what is wrong with us?
I'm kind of embarrassed, trying not to show it, and then I get on stream the next day to go through, you know, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, and the day prior, I basically only did the MSQ because I figured that it would be fun, and it was. So I took that same mentality into the next day's stream. And so then, we went through and we did the MSQ of 2.1 and 2.2, and we saw the Moogle King, and we got a small teaser that Leviathan was gonna show up, and we had the whole situation with the Doma needing seeking refuge and asylum. And after ending stream, after 8 hours of doing that, I thought to myself, well, you need to do a video tomorrow. And so, what is the most eventful thing that happened today? And the most eventful thing that I could think of was when someone in chat said that Minfilia had a butt window, and I was intrigued. And I go and I saw Minfilia, and I looked behind her, and lo and behold, she did indeed have a butt window.
What are you guys talking about? This thing? Like this little opening right here? Bro, that's barely a bow window. Oh no, that's a whole ass bow window. I thought those were actual rows underneath it. No, you could see stockings. Okay, we're not doing that again. You guys are perverts. Whoever discovered that is a pervert. Don't look at my mommy. Don't look at mommy Minfilia that way.
And that was kind of weird. But then, after looking it up on Reddit, they say the reason why she has a bud window is because her clothes might have been made by her mother, who's a Makote, and her adoptive mother. And because she makes Makote clothes, Minfilia is wearing Makote clothes, and so that's where the tail would be. Anyway, that was a side tangent. So my point being is that that was the most eventful thing that I felt happened. And why is that? Is it because all of the story in post ARR is actually this time a slog? Is that why? And I thought about that, and I concluded, well, no, not really, because it's really like the same problems, just different primals. Because before you finished 2.0, you had problems such as primals, and you had to defeat the primals, and you had Asians, and the Asians were kind of a problem. And it's kind of the same thing again. You have primals, we had the Moogle King, and now we have Leviathan, and that's kind of where I stopped so far. And we have the white robed Asian. And so it was actually even, maybe more intricate of a plot than you had pre 2.0, because you have the whole Doma situation, which is a highly political situation, and there's a lot of nuance to it. And do you let them in, and do you not? And are there the resources? What about charity? And then you have capitalism and all this sort of stuff. So like it's actually really dense and really loaded, you know. But it didn't feel as rich as pre 2.0. And so after thinking about it for a little bit, what I concluded was the reason why post A Realm Reborn 2.0, that 2.1 and 2.2 are slower, or at least they feel slower than the earlier parts of A Realm Reborn, is because the stuff that comes later is contrasted by the crescendo that you had at the end of defeating the Ultima weapon. That was such a high point in the story, and I had never experienced that much intensity, that much emotion, and that much the quality of the music and everything, and the cinematography that you do at the end of A Realm Reborn 2.0, at least in 6.1, which is the version that I played. It was really, really good. And now what that essentially did was it raised the bar. It's like, okay, this is the new bar. This is where we're at now. And so then you go back to, defeating the primals and kind of going back into the old flow. And now because, I have that higher expectation, I have that contrast. Now, although it isn't inherently worse, or it isn't inherently, a slog compared to the earlier parts, it might feel like that more to me now because of what we had, you know. And if you think about it in terms of development cycles, what was probably happening at Square Enix was they were working on Heavensward by the end of Realm Reborn 2.0, but they needed something to keep their players engaged in the meantime while they were working on Heavensward until Heavensward came out. So then what they probably did was they put out patch 2.1 and 2.2, but because probably the majority of the resources and the creativity over at Square Enix was busy working on Heavensward, that would imply that they were kind of just trying to keep the players engaged to the best of their ability with low resources until they put out Heavensward. And that's what I think really happened with it. Now, am I saying it's horrible? No, it's still fun. It's still good. I do want to see what happens with the Doma. I do want to see what happens with Leviathan. I'm absolutely curious to know, and I do want to know who the white robed Asian is. And so that's where we're at right now. I do want to end off this video with saying that I decided I'm going to be streaming on Twitch every day starting at 10 a.m. Central Standard, and I'm gonna go to 6 p.m. unless otherwise, unless I notify you prior that I won't be on that day. And that's really all I have to say for this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.